this computer. You can keep track on additional people popping in. We'll get started right at 12, straight up Pacific Standard Time. The Gratitude Infusion Mastermind. Oh my God, my older son is in the house. Oh, how exciting. You might recognize that last name. Gratitude Infusion Mastermind for May 1st, 2024. I always am curious if people want to capture content, have a pad and paper or a piece of paper and a pen, and your cell phone. We'll need that a little bit later. So we do a couple of things to wrap up with the cell phone. So let me start right out. I was reading an article the other day, and it's everything. I call this the Gratitude Infusion Mastermind. So 90% of it's going to be about gratitude and how infusing your life with gratitude is going to make such a difference in how you conduct yourself and how your attitude is, and maybe the attitude more than anything else. I'm reading about more and more of record numbers of suicides and depression and anxiety. And I was telling somebody on a Zoom call yesterday that, you know, I sometimes I feel like titling things how to stop people from committing suicide, but it probably wouldn't fly on videos and things because of the inflammatory nature of it all. But it's so much about, that's why I talk about this gratitude journal, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. And it makes such a big difference in having something you write down every single day that you focus on all your blessings in abundance and how it can keep you on the right track. I was saying to Suzanne earlier today, like doing this and a lot of the things Sajad does and Suzanne does and some of you other folks here is you're kind of like a performer. And so if you're not exactly on par, you're not going to perform as well. But one of the biggest ways you can do that is to be writing things in your gratitude journal about the things you have, your blessings and abundance, and the things you had to be thankful for. And we actually will do a little exercise as we wrap up the hour today that's going to focus on that too, called all the good things that are going on in your life. And we'll probably try to do it for 30 seconds every month just to kind of focus back on your blessings and not worry about the negative, only focus on the positive. But I read something the other day about so many people have come from a broken family. I know all the time that I look at people that I see that are just like, are your parents still married? And it's like, nobody's parents are still married. And that's my generation looking back. And nowadays people get married and the divorce rate is about 50, 60%. It's crazy. So a lot of people come from a broken home. So I thought, well, how does gratitude figure into people that have come from a broken home? My parents were divorced when I was 16. It was challenging. I had to go testify against my father in court. It was kind of a nasty deal. And as I say, most of us, it seems like, come from divorced families. So some of the things it talked about that I did the research on is that perspective shift. Gratitude helps shift focus from what's lacking to what's present, which is something I think is so, so very important. The perspective we have all the time. Emotional resilience. It fosters resilience by finding positive aspects amidst challenges. Again, trying to find the pony in the room instead of the manure or whatever, as you know. Self-esteem boost. Gratitude reinforces self-worth and self-confidence. I've talked about that many times before. Healing. It aids in the healing process by promoting forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness is huge. The Don Henley did a song about forgiveness once, and people don't seem to understand. It's about you. It's not about the person that wronged you and so forth, and it's how you move forward. Improved relationships. Gratitude enhances relationships by fostering empathy and understanding. I went to visit my sick brother down in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, and my older brother said to my sister and I, "You guys aren't very empathetic." And he started laughing. Yes, we are. We're down here taking care of them. And so empathy is such a good emotion to have, and understanding somebody else and what they're dealing with. Stress reduction. It reduces stress by promoting a sense of calm and contentment. And calm and contentment are good things, of course. So empowerment, it empowers individuals to focus on what they can control and change. How many times we focus on things we have no control over? I don't understand it. People worry about things that they don't have any way that they can control it. So move on to something that you can actually change. Increased happiness. A lot of synonyms go along with gratitude: appreciation, happiness, well-being. And so gratitude leads to greater overall happiness and life satisfaction. Connection. This is so huge, especially you get to be my age and you find out a lot of people that are lonely and don't have connections anymore. It helps in building connections with others who share similar experiences. And so, again, gratitude at work on that. Mindfulness. I brought this up many times. Gratitude encourages mindfulness, being present in the moment and appreciating it. You can ask Jeff Serra a little bit about mindfulness, and he'll tell you what a huge difference it makes too. Generosity. It promotes a spirit of giving and sharing despite personal hardships. It's more blessed to give than receive. And if you want to help other people, help yourself rather, help other people. So generosity is huge. Sense of belonging. This kind of goes back to connection. Gratitude fosters a sense of belonging and acceptance. even in non-traditional family settings, which there's a lot more of those now. So important to have that sense of being part of something. Coping mechanism. This is one of the things I bring up this term a lot. People need a good coping mechanism. My wife died of a prescription pill overdose at the age of 38 from too many Vicodin and Oxycontin and died suddenly. And we found her on the floor. And it was a horrific thing that I went through and my two sons went through. Well, wasn't that just another coping mechanism, trying to find pills, booze, all these things that are out there? I get it. Life is not easy. So it serves as a healthy coping mechanism. And that's what we're looking for, healthy ones, not unhealthy ones. And so if we're dealing with family-related stressors and so forth, psychological well-being, gratitude improves our mental health by reducing negative emotions like resentment and bitterness. I've talked about that before. Those are toxic emotions. They're not good for you. Personal growth. It facilitates personal growth and development through reflection and gratitude practice. Role modeling. Always find role models. It's so important, like mentors. Practicing gratitude sets a positive example for others, including family members as an example. Resourcefulness. Gratitude encourages resourcefulness in finding solutions to challenges, because you're looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty, and that makes a huge difference. Spiritual connection. For those of you that are spiritual, it deepens spiritual connections and beliefs, providing comfort and guidance. I've done many a talk in churches before, and then I've done ones where I come up to the company and they say, no, you're not going to talk about God, are you? And I go, not if you don't want me to. It's just, you tell me what works best for you and I'll do whatever you want. So makes a big difference. Resilient foundation. Ultimately, gratitude helps in building a resilient foundation for navigating the complexities of familiar relationships and life in general. Familiar relationships. How many times do we have things? I have this brother I have these issues with and so forth. Do we have people in our own families that sometimes I've met people, they said, well, how was your brother? I haven't talked to him in 10 years. I haven't talked to him in 15 years. So anything that can help build back the relationships you have that are close to you can make such a big difference. By embracing an attitude of gratitude, individuals from broken families can find strength, hope, and resilience to thrive despite their circumstances. So hold on just a second. Yes, I did. All right. Next, because I'm getting a little bit older, I wanted to talk a little bit about gratitude and aging. Can't believe I'm this age already, but that's just how it goes. Gratitude and aging. As the years pass by, one can't help but notice the subtle changes that come with getting older. It may be easy to dwell on the physical limitations and the passing of time, but amidst these transitions, one often finds a newfound appreciation for life's blessings. Boy, I turned 74 in January, and do I have a renewed appreciation for life's blessings? I sure do. I've lost many, many friends and family members, and I'm just grateful to be healthy and happy and have a physical and mental health, have two phenomenal sons, a roof over my head, food in the refrigerator, and so forth. And so that's a lot of what we talk about with gratitude is it's focusing on these blessings and things that you have and not worrying about what you don't have. Gratitude becomes an essential companion in the journey of aging. With each passing year, we gather memories of laughter, love, and triumphs that shape our unique story. We become more attuned to the beauty of simple moments, cherishing the warmth of a smile or the comfort of a loved one's embrace. Gratitude becomes a lens through which we perceive the world, a lens that magnifies the little joys and allows us to find solace amidst challenges. I won't even have you raise your hand. How many people here have challenges? Almost everybody would raise their hand. As we embrace the inevitability of aging, gratitude becomes an anchor reminding us to treasure the present, value our experiences, and cultivate connections with those we hold dear. So another reason why it's just so much of what I'm trying to get across is understanding all the aspects of what gratitude can do for you. And an attitude of gratitude, a gratitude mindset. We live in this world where it's just crazy, where we're bombarded. I'm talking to somebody on a Zoom call the other day. I think most all of us do several Zoom calls a day or a handful a week or whatever it might be, talking about just the situation in the world. It's pretty negative. You can watch the news and you can be informed, which is great, but man, you sometimes got to watch it because you can come away kind of being depressed. So couple of things I thought around humility in terms of gratitude too. Practice active listening. So important. I brought this up. I had a whole section on this once 2 or 3 months ago about truly listening to people, being quiet, zip it and listen and let them talk and don't interrupt and so forth. Accept constructive criticism. I looked at one of my videos today and the comment on my video was, wow, give me a break. Wow. Yeah, thanks so much. Sorry, I guess you didn't like my video. but accepting constructive criticism is so important. It's so important, rather. And instead of becoming defensive when receiving feedback, embrace it as an opportunity for growth. So I'll have to rethink that video the next time around. Acknowledge your areas for improvement. Celebrate others' successes. Be genuinely happy for achievements of those around you. Avoid comparing yourself to others. That is such a true thing. You've heard many times, comparison is the thief of joy. Makes such a big difference. And instead, focus on supporting and encouraging their accomplishments. I just hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube the other day, and they sent a little flyer out from YouTube and saying, congratulations. And boy, I remember when I did my first video, and I thought it was 10 years ago. It was 2007. That was 17 years ago. And I remember, I think I had 3 people subscribe, myself, Kyle, and Connor. I think that was it. And so you just slowly grow through time. So, but celebrate those successes for other people. Admit mistakes. Embrace your fallibility and be willing to admit when you're wrong. Gosh, apologize sincerely and take responsibility for your actions, demonstrating accountability and integrity. Serve others, engage of acts of kindness and service without seeking recognition and praise. Kyle, I remember an old friend I had named Huck who would bring me a coffee, and then he'd remind me for the next 3 years that he bought me that coffee back in 2017. I went, I said thank you at the time. Was that not good enough? I so appreciate it, but I guess he was trying to serve others. Cultivate gratitude, recognize and appreciate the contributions of others in life. Express gratitude regularly, acknowledging their support and assistance from friends. Remain teachable. That kind of speaks for itself, because again, we want to be somebody who can continually learn, but really do kind of consider the source, though. I've had many times when people look at all of the consultants, coaches, speakers, different positions we're all in here, and what's the word I want? Disciplines. I'll get it right. All the different disciplines that are here. And think how many times you've heard somebody say, well, here's how you ought to do this. And they go, well, my next door neighbor says I should do it. What? Who's your next door neighbor? What do they know about it? Why are they telling you? Don't listen to them, for crying out loud. Foster empathy. I mentioned that earlier. Seek to understand the experiences and emotions of others, showing compassion, empathy in your interactions, and so forth. Recognize the inherent dignity and worth of every individual, regardless of differences. I said something to STK earlier today about how this group of people and some of the other ones, and I'm fortunate enough to be in groups throughout the week. By the way, Jim, I'm sorry I missed shared connections yesterday. I wanted to see you on that. That would have been cool. I had another Zoom call with a client that had to come up. But this is a very high-level community. These are not the average people. When I managed a Lowe's store, it was just too much for them to have me give them 2 things to do. Mr. Brooke, if you can just give me 1 thing to do, and I'll do that, and then I'll come back and you can tell me what number 2 is. This is quite different. So really understand the kind of people that you're hanging out with, because it's pretty cool to have such a high bar that you get to, sort of like move towards, rather, if you will. Fostering empathy, I mentioned. Oh, embrace humor. Learn to laugh at yourself and embrace humility with a sense of humor. Avoid taking yourself too seriously and be willing to find amusement in life's ups and downs. So on this 10-year journey have I been on to be the gratitude guy? Gosh, I've done DoorDash, I've done Uber, I live in Seattle, I worked at the Seahawks Pro Shop, and one day I'm driving Uber and the gal goes, can you throw my bags in the back? And I wanted to go, you don't understand, I'm a very famous speaker. Do not talk to me that way. Do not tell me that I should be throwing your bags in the back. You've never heard of the gratitude guy? So same thing, the Seahawks store. Like, didn't you used to run a Nordstrom store? Weren't you like the store manager? And now you're what? You're just selling jerseys? So who knows? Who cares? As long as you're focusing on where you're going, don't worry about what you have and apply humor to it. It can make such a big difference. I heard something on a podcast. Success equals recovering from failure. I can look at every one of these faces here and know that every one of us has gone through multiple failures, probably, and for sure one big one, but probably multiple ones. But recovering from failure, I think it was Tim Ferriss on his podcast about the people that had the most success have recovered from multiple failures, never giving up, employing tenacity. And I remember my mom used to say to me, where does it say life is easy or fair? It's neither easy nor fair. So very important. So, one more quick thing, and then we're going to get some comments, and then we'll get into the breakout room here in a second. I saw this the other day, actually 2 other things. I saw this one. I always thought this one was kind of cool. I may have said it before, but you can always repeat stuff when it feels like it's important. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by action makes your dream come true. I think everybody wants their dreams to come true, but unless you have some sort of a plan and a step, a date and a goal, and then broken into steps to make it a plan, and then a plan backed by action, are you doing things every day to support that action? You'll make your dreams come true. So that makes a big difference. And one more thing I saw, which I thought this is a little bit more along the healthy thing. This guy was talking about how do you build a strong immunity system? And I think, again, especially at my age, but all of us were, there's a commercial on the radio goes, he says, you want to take care of yourself. We're getting older. We're all getting older. And I thought, yes, we are all getting older. But it had on here, don't drink alcohol, don't smoke anything, get plenty of sleep, don't overeat, and eat fresh vegetables whenever possible, exercise every day. Don't stress about things you can't control, and drink 4 glasses of water. I'm sure a lot of you have heard those before, but I will tell you, I think they are very, very powerful in terms of how you take care of yourself. What's the old line? Mickey Mantle or somebody, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. So it just kind of depends on the type of people you're talking about. So something to keep in mind, and for going forward, it goes by so fast. We've all seen how fast life goes by. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as best you can. And all those things are good to put into kind of a power hour, which I've talked before on previous calls about how that one is a good one to follow, having some sort of a power hour, or some sort of a checklist you can use every single day. Jeff has a very good checklist, Jeff Sarah. So, so gratitude journal. So this is the gratitude journal. There's a little line in the front that says, if you think about it, it's like a dream. If you talk about it, it empowers you. But if you write about it, if you think about it, it inspires you. If you write about it, it empowers you. I put a link in the chat for this. If you're interested in buying one, they're $20. It's so important. This has been an absolute lifesaver for me on the days that I don't have a good day. And I write, and it has a little template. There's for tomorrow already. It's got a template that you fill out this way, so it's very easy to follow. It's not just a spiral notebook, and you can go through and fill in the necessary things, including the daily number, which we did an exercise month before last on the daily number. And every day, I like to think I practice what I preach. It's filled out, takes me 5 minutes, part of that power hour in the morning. Makes such a big difference. But there's something about, the power of this book, this journal, and this thing called a pen that makes a big difference about if you write about it. And as I said, it empowers you. And so it makes a big difference, but really try it. And people ask me on podcasts and at talks and things like that, let me ask you, what's the one takeaway, if nothing else that somebody had, what's the one takeaway you would want people to get? And I said, well, just try it for a week. Just try it for a week and see what happens after a week, because it'll change your mindset. And again, back to that writing part, makes such a big difference as well. So, and then also, I do a lot of speaking, and my whole speaking thing is corporate events and conferences, annual meetings, conventions, that type of thing. If you know of anybody, I've spoken for Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing. I do workshops for Boeing. So anybody that you know that's looking for a speaker, please let me know, and I will follow up on that too. And then my coaching is something I get a lot of coaching clients from my speaking events, but clients hire me to help them get a derailed life back on track by developing a gratitude mindset that makes their life enough. Because my favorite line is, gratitude turns what you have into enough. I meet a lot of people that do not have any kind of idea of where they are in terms of, I just got to get more, I got to get more, and they drive themselves. And I've lost a number of friends to heart attacks. And I wonder if it's because they were always thinking what they had wasn't enough. So important. And so for you, though, for those of you that are new, I see some new faces and some of the returning veterans. Thank you all for attending. The typical way I like to run this, for an hour, we start right at 12 Pacific Standard Time, Pacific Daylight Time, and right at 1 o'clock. The content pillars, what I just usually do for the first 15 or 20 minutes. Then any comments from that, and then breakout rooms. And then I'll have Suzanne put those in the chat. In a second, we'll go into breakout rooms, 15 minutes. I've got 2 or 3 questions in the breakout rooms from the content that I talked about that you can see, and there'll be usually 3 to 4 people per room. And then after that, any takeaways from the breakout rooms that you have. And then I have usually 1 or 2 exercises I do have some links in the chat, the gratitude journal, as I mentioned. There's a complimentary coaching call link in there for my coaching, which I feel very passionate about. And then there's also a link for this exact call. So if you have any friends that want to do, that want to sign up, just you can send that link and they can sign up right on there. And there's a couple of little things in there as well. So, all right. So content, I haven't really watched the chat much because I've been speaking. Any comments from the, and please use your virtual hand if you will. Any comments, questions, or thoughts from the first 15 or 20 minutes? And I see Bruce Kaufman, who is becoming quite prolific on TikTok. I just noticed it's all of a sudden I go, there he's in my phone again for the second day in a row. Mr. Kaufman, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just very quick. The last sentence, a plan with action is what? You said three things: dream with a date, goal broken into steps as a plan with action is.
A plan backed by action makes your dream come true.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Are you going to comment on those TikToks? I like what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, I saw Rob Fenstermaker this morning. He was in my video for a while or on my computer.
Rob's TikToks are great, man. You want inspiration in the morning, subscribe to his channel.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So any other questions, thoughts, comments? You know, for some reason, when I always do this, I'm always thinking about, it reminds me for some reason in math class in high school, when I didn't know the answer to the formula, and I see Sir John's got his hand up, which is only appropriate. And the teacher would be looking around the room and you'd put your head down like this, like, please don't ask, don't call on me, please. I don't know the answer and I don't want to be embarrassed in front of everybody. But Mr. Sajad.
I don't have anything to say except something nice.
Okay, good.
Which disappoints me. I thought you were perfect and amazing and great. Every time, you know, it's kind of weird. Every time you do this, every month, I think, oh, that was way better than the last time. This is by far the best I've ever seen you perform before.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for that.
Please don't ruin my reputation.
Oh, sounds good. All right. Thank you, Sajad. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Any other comments from the training? Thoughts? Anybody with their, I saw that, Derek Lord. Any other power hours or ones that people do? All right. So let's do this. Let's go into breakout room. Suzanne will take care of that. And 3 to 4 per room. You'll see the three. I'm going to read them to you. The 3 questions are in the chat. They're kind of related to today. Do you have a fitness or workout routine? What have you done to take care of yourself? I'm kind of sensitive about it because I'm getting older. And so I really want to figure out and see what people are doing to take care of themselves. And then as you've gotten older, have you become more forgiving with age? So I'll put 15 minutes on the clock. Have fun getting to know everybody and go through those 3 questions or anything else. And then we'll come back and circle back and get the comments from the breakout rooms. So good luck in the breakout rooms and enjoy some of these wonderful people I've had the opportunity to meet here in the last several months. Rusty, good to see you.
I'm putting the questions in the breakout room as well.
Okay. You have a good, oh. How do you put those? Can you talk?
Melody, are you here? Melanie, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. I can't add you to a breakout room. Okay. I put her in the waiting room. We'll try letting her back in.
We want to admit her back in.
Let her back in a few minutes. She wasn't there.
Okay,
So
I'll wait for a second.
Just kind of, maybe she was in the bathroom.
So then I forget the new thing about this, even though I'm recording it, is I get my chance to talk to STK during the break. And I think that we can use that I'll splice that out and that'll be our weekly video. Really, and
Oh,
I know I keep giving you credit all the time, is it's well deserved. But now, seeing how long I've known you, it's been a year,
mm-hmm.
maybe 14 months or something, when you said you need to do your own event. And that's what this is now, and it's interesting because what's my point going to be? I have some point in making this. Oh, I know. Is that so every event you think is going to be the same, back to
Mm-hmm.
coach conversations and coach accelerator and so forth. But like, for instance, you never know how many people are going to ask questions or make comments. Oh, what I forgot to say, shoot, I
Yeah.
forgot to say this because this is a great point you brought last month, is have one person be your spokesman.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like to call on people. You can always call on me. I can always call on you, but it's more fun when it's organic,
Yeah.
and that people just start asking the questions. And last month there was a lot of them. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think when people come back from the breakout room,
Mm-hmm.
to encourage more of that, say something along the lines of, how was that for everybody? And you'll get some head nods and some,
Yeah.
thumbs up, whatever. Um, I'd love to hear from 3 or 4
Okay.
voices in the room. Love to hear from 3 or 4 of those breakout rooms and what was the common theme. And then 3 or 4 people will raise their hand. And you could always call on 5 if you have the time.
Right.
Um, I think you have to ask,
Yeah.
because people don't know. Like, is it engagement, or are we just
Well, and it's interesting. You were talking about, you said, Nikki, some people she should get to know, and Dorothy and so on. And you say, well, you got to like people in their community. And I didn't really say it, but it's interesting because a lot of those people I know, and they are my community and your community, where you and I overlap or whatever. But then when you advertise in Facebook and LinkedIn and TikTok and places like that, you get just any random person,
right,
so it's not necessarily pre-qualified for Suzanne
right,
or David in a sense. But
right.
excuse me, but I do think that's a small percentage, though.
Yeah.
I think the
And
vast
I
majority.
think, those people that really well, to not hesitate to ask them to invite people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I do it if I see your event, but if I know, I'll put it on my calendar the week before, invite to David's event, invite to Dorothy's event.
Yeah.
Dorothy's doing a horrible job inviting people to her event. She posts it on LinkedIn, but then
Yeah.
she doesn't email and invite and ask. I said, ask me. I'll invite 500 people
Yeah.
to your event who could be ideal people for you. I have enough connections, but I don't think about it and
Oh,
everybody's the same way.
yeah, exactly. And you were talking, and I made a comment,
Mhm.
Coach Accelerator, to Craig Bruce about his event. And I don't get many people. And he says, I get 25 registrations and 3 people show up. And it
Mhm.
comes back to, no matter how well I know you, I still have a better chance of you coming to my barbecue if I go, now, are Dennis and Sean coming too?
Right.
Go, yeah. Now
Right.
tell Sean I want him to come because a couple of my kids will be there and they're about his age. I mean, you're just increasing engagement, and you
Yes.
can't. And I think part of it, I can't speak for Dorothy, but I'll speak for myself. To know sometimes it's my ego. Well, well, it's me, so everybody should want to come. No, no,
No.
no,
No.
it's not the case. Get
No.
over yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. I think, I'm trying to I realized something when I was talking to my agency partner today. I have a session with him every week, and he wanted an update on what I was doing. I told him, gave him his list to do for me. And then it's all about him. The rest of the time is all about him. And he said he was looking for introductions to heating and air conditioning companies. And I was like, how would you like to meet the sales manager for the sales trainer for Service Nation? And he was like, his face dropped and he was like, what? I said, oh yeah, he trains all the franchisees. Would you like an intro to him? So I pick up my phone while I'm on Zoom with him and I text Chris Michelle. Hey buddy, what's up? It's been too long. We need to catch up. My agency partner is doing something really, really cool with HVAC companies and AI scheduling. Would you want an introduction? He was like, yes, please.
Nice.
And then my phone rings.
Right.
And I told Shaf to hold on. And Shaf goes, you texted him and he called you? I said, yes, yes. That's the power of an inner circle. It's been 6 months since I talked to Chris Michelle, but when I text and I say I have somebody good for him, my phone rings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, you have to teach me that. Like seeing that, introducing Shaf to Chris, not only could it be thousands of referrals for my agency partner, but it's going to make Chris look really good if he has somebody like that in his pocket.
Exactly. And that's one of the keys is back to if you want to help yourself, help other people, and I think it was Zig Ziglar, this key to success in life is help other people get what they want,
How
but
long do you want to leave them in the breakout room?
I got my timer going. I have 8.5 minutes, so I would say 15. And what's funny? I noticed this with the breakout rooms on Coach Conversations and so forth, Coach Accelerator. It's no matter how long you're in there, it never feels like it's long enough. It's like, oh man, there's only 60 seconds.
I know.
I think that's such a good sign because
Yeah.
we want to think, God, is this thing ever going to end? And you keep like looking at
I
it.
have thought that before in breakout rooms, like when they were
I
talking
know.
about
About
marijuana
marijuana.
gummies. Thought, shoot me now. Does anybody have one right now?
Whose
Because I need one.
whose meeting was that? Because I remember that. Because I remember you talking about that. All they did. It was
It might
like
have been polarizing.
may have been polarizing. That sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, but two of the people in that room don't come back to polarizing. One of them was Jeff Sarah, but the room got led by this woman who was undergoing cancer treatment, and it was a Debbie Downer because it was negative, negative, negative. And not to be mean, but we're not here to talk about your cancer treatment. I
Yeah.
understand you're going through a hard time. Schedule a time on my calendar, or I'll help you with your mindset, but don't bring that to a networking
Yeah.
event. Um, and then it was just right into pain management. I'm like, this is the most painful thing I've been through in a while. Does anybody have one for me now? They didn't think I was funny, David.
Well, I mean, it's like I told you twice. I'll say it a third time, but her name was Carol, Caril Ridley. And so she got on my calendar yesterday and I had this call with her. And the last time that I was over in China, I entered China to do diplomatic things. I went, oh, shut the fuck up. You didn't go over there as some diplomat. Who the hell what are you trying to impress this little David George Brooke guy? And
Maybe.
people, they're just people. I guess the thing is, and I'll give us credit and I'll let you speak for yourself, but I just think so many people are full of shit. It's just, and I don't think I'm.
Well, I made a post on, was it LinkedIn today? Hold on. I think it was LinkedIn today where I said something snarky about that. And I had read something, it might have been on Facebook. Oh no, it's coming on LinkedIn on Friday. So I saw a post, somebody I know lives local to me, saw a post on Facebook where she's claiming she makes $600,000 a month. And I messaged her and I know where she lives. I know what kind of car she drives. And when I've seen her out around town, she she's not making $600,000 a month.
Yeah, and that's $7.2 million a year. I don't think so.
No, no.
Just, I don't know. You know, it's the equivalent. I've told you many times about the dating experience, both from a
Mhm.
female standpoint for you and a male standpoint for me. It's kind of like the same thing that all these women said to me, and very justifiably so. All he did was talk about himself the entire night. Can you just get over yourself and quit bullshitting us? You're not making $7.2 million a year. And yet it's always people, it's just the lack of confidence, no self-esteem. I think I impressed STK when I told her that I made 7.2 million. Yeah, I think she
I messaged her and I said, how are and I didn't say she was lying. I said, how do posts like that, making income claims that are so far out of reach for most people on Facebook, how does that serve your business? She's like, I do that so I can sell my $100,000 coaching package. I don't believe for one instance that somebody would pay her $100,000.
Yeah.
I don't.
And by the way, I'll give you a compliment too. I actually printed it, but the charisma code. And so
Mhm.
you sent it to me. And so I printed because a lot of times I just want to have the paper to look at and so forth.
Uh-huh.
It's very comprehensive and very well thought out, and makes a lot of sense and follows kind of a nice flow. And
Was it the course, like the 12 module course, or what? What did I send?
there was that too, but it was the one yesterday. Maybe it was more the website that went through. Where do I have it?
The PowerPoint?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't the PowerPoint. It was the shit.
No, don't worry about it. You're in the middle of your event. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point is, and then one more minute to 15 minutes.
Okay.
And so the thing that was interesting is that at $100,000, you better be on top of it. It better be a freaking incredible operation, you know? And so I just think that's why I think people throw it around too, with this idea of, you know, I charge $25,000 per speech. Have you ever got that? No, but that's what I charge. You know, what, go to hell. You know,
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to Connor last night. He was being very helpful. We had a Zoom call. And I said, yeah, I'm a little down. And Kyle, my oldest son, is on the call today, and which is really neat. 'Cause it's the first call I think he's made. And
he's so cute, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then Connor's even cuter than Kyle. And so it's just,
he's a little too young though.
He's so handsome.
That would be like a little weird if I said
exactly. Exactly. Anyway, but 8,000, 12,000, 8,000, that adds up to 28,000. And I can't seem to get a hold of these people. That's $28,000 in 3 talks.
You're too attached to it.
I know I am, but
let it go.
I know.
Let it go.
And
you'll get one of them if you let it go.
I will. And then I also will do more for getting more stuff too. And just, you know, you want more fishing poles in the water, you get more fish. So,
all right. Should I give them 1 minute? And
yeah, give them 1 minute.
All right, here we go. Bruce Kaufman said, I like the green shirt. I said, thanks. It goes with the lime in my tequila. And then I went like this. And he laughed. I don't think he knows quite how to take me yet.
Yeah, I don't know him very well. He's an interesting dude.
He's very buttoned up.
Very kind of cerebral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes when I make jokes, he's like, is she kidding? Is she not kidding?
Yeah.
You know, which I like that.
Yeah,
you know.
I do too. I think that's good. That's funny.
Well, they must be liking the breakout rooms. They don't want to come back.
Yeah, that's a good sign. And I'll let Melody back.
I got it.
Wow. Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Right.
I met me in my room today.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I neglected to say when we started, I kind of like to have somebody as the designated spokesperson for the breakout room. so that not everybody has to feel responsible for raising their hand. So please raise your, because I really want to hear how it went. And the breakout rooms to me are some of the best information that I want everybody to share with other people. But please raise your virtual hand and report back on your breakout room, and we'll see. And I see Jeff's got his hand already raised. Thank you, Jeff. Sarah, we'll get to you in a second. And just kind of talk about what you talked about, because it's the power of the mastermind. This is called a mastermind. And I think back on the time I've mentioned very often the amount of time I spent with Nordstrom. And one of the things I really like, not as much Lowe's, but Nordstrom for sure, you'd get 10 or 12 people in a room and you'd come up with some of the most phenomenal ideas that as a store manager, as a person working on your own, you never could, because there was just you want to have way too many brains working, and that makes a big difference. But please raise your hand and we'll get started, and I'll start with Jeff here in a second. And just, I'd like to hear any big takeaways, insights from your breakout room. And we'll start with Mr. Jeff Yukikazu Sarah.
I was going to ask if now is a good time to do the screenshot, David.
Oh yeah, actually that is. That's a good point. Thank you.
Anybody that doesn't want to be in it, you can turn your camera off or message me and I'll remove you from it. Otherwise, I'll count us down from 3 and everybody say cheese. 1, 2, 3.
Cheese.
Cool. And yeah, we had a great conversation. We kind of derailed from the questions, but we were talking about the Great Discovery platform for a good chunk of it. If you guys haven't heard, it's a good platform for creating coursework. It's Six Sigma backed, and yeah, there's a lot in there.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Carrie Lewis, one of my favorite people.
Oh, you just say that. Well, fortunately for me, I was in the room with your son. So we just talked trash about you the whole time. No, just kidding. Let's see. We really, I think all three of us have consistent workout routine. All of us recognize the importance of forgiveness. I think for me, I shared with both of them, I truly believe that forgiveness of yourself leads to forgiveness of others. And I really encourage the people I work with to come from a place of curiosity, and that allows them to start to forgive themselves for whatever it is that they need to. And in doing so, when you can have self-compassion, you have compassion for everybody else. It's really hard to hold a grudge when you don't hold one against yourself. And then I think the aha moment, or at least, I was listening to a neuroscientist who was saying that the key to a longer life is actually walking. And the reason why is it produces a chemical that's released that creates more brain cells, which we generate throughout our life. And so they're finding that the more people are walking, the more they're generating these brain cells, which will help them across all boards. So that was pretty much our breakout room.
Excellent. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate that. Matt, to geek is chic.
Yeah, hi there, everybody. For me, I was in the room with Mark and Jim and Krista, and it was very intriguing conversations because we all had our own interpretation of exercise, what we're doing to maintain it, and then also what do you do to become more forgiving. And so, like, for example, like Jim had a very profound thought that it was basically about, with age, I'm more forgiving about things that don't matter and less forgiving about things that do matter, which was great. But also, some people struggle with weight, some people, and then had to compensate for the diet, or they were part of, genetics, which, people got into, and also mental health played a part of all that as well. And to be grateful for what you have based on your life experiences, and then having a tolerance for what you're to put up with and what you're not going to put up with based on who you are and wisdom and experience, the pros and cons, and their perception and perspective of who's in your life, who isn't, and where do you want your happiness to be. So ultimately, it's about people that are going to be your peace and your serenity, not be more toxic than the Britney song. So that, to me, goes a long way in those aspects. So thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. And again, any other, I've got a few more people to call on. Anybody else, I just would love to hear it. It's just so great to get the perspective. Next, my friend from Vancouver, Canada, representing the Great North, Rachel Lee.
Hi, everyone. It's great to meet you. This is my first time at this call, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see I see a lot of familiar faces, which is great. I was in a breakout room with the amazing Jason, Sajad, and Derek, and we had a really cool conversation. I think we focused a lot on the last prompt around how do you become more forgiving with age, and I had to laugh because I felt like I think I'm literally like at least 30 years younger than everyone who is in the room. I turned 30 in November for context. So, I mean, for me, from my perspective, I find that at least what I've discovered so far is that everyone is doing their best at any given moment, and there is a lot of room for grace in that. But also, I've also realized that you can't control what's going on in someone's world, and sometimes you just meet them at the wrong place and at the wrong time. And one thing that we talked about at the tail end of our breakout room is the fact that because you can't control everyone, there's no point in wasting energy on worrying about something that's going on somebody else's end, and it just tears you down as well. So on the topic of forgiveness, and just keeping people away who aren't the right fit for you, knowing who you are and standing in that firmly will allow you to attract the right people into your world and deter the wrong people from entering your sphere. So then that way you can protect your energy. Yeah, I feel like we went on a tangent, but I really enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to getting to know the rest of you guys better.
Rachel, thank you so much. Very well said. Appreciate you here. Appreciate all of you being here. Coach Lee.
Hey, what's going on? I was in a room with Rob Fenstermaker, Nikki, Ryan, and Chris, and we had a nice conversation about feeling forgiveness in other people. And we just have to pay attention to understand that some people have their own experiences, and as soon as we separate themselves from us, we get to have our own experiences and understand that they have a pattern of behavior, whatever's going on with them, they can keep that to themselves, and we can forgive them and let them be on their way. Like a lot of people have already said, we want to have that experience for ourselves and protect our energy. But also we talked about, which is really important, is just not letting go of that. But if I've been hurt, or if I have a feeling, I want to process that. And we talked about how it takes like 90 seconds to process a feeling. And that was something that was new to me to understand. Nikki mentioned 90 seconds to process a feeling, and it continues to reset anytime you think about that feeling. So you get mad and you get mad and you get mad again. Oh, I'm good. You get mad again. And it continues on and on and on until you just get a hold of yourself. And once you do that, I think you can release that person, forgive that person, let them go on their way. We also talked about some breathing exercises to accompany that stuff too. Rob had talked about how he does his breathing exercises. I thought that was really fantastic. And so did Nikki. They talked about those ideas. That's what I got mostly from it. Breathing, releasing, letting go of the people and the feeling.
Coach Lee, thank you so much. And thanks. And Nikki, that was a neat comment that you made as well. All those things are just, again, I don't mean to be redundant, but the power of the mastermind, it's just amazing what can come out of a bunch of people putting their heads together versus one or two. Next, Terry Green.
I was with Diamond, Mark, and Michelle, and we have a vast difference in age ranges as well as workout styles. Everybody's doing something with what they can, with what their time allows, but it ranges from some very intense exercise on a regular basis to walking the dog on a regular basis and trying to find a little more time for that in between. And so we talked a lot about, you know, the giving yourself grace no matter what you do, and taking those small steps to add more healthier things to your lifestyle. You know, whether it's eating right or getting some more exercise, or, you know, doing things that you enjoy, or making sure you get enough good sleep. Those are all things that contribute to being able to manage life as it comes at us.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Terry. Good group. Kevin Connor.
Yes, I'm not sure I'm going to say anything too much different than everybody else here, but I was in with Roosevelt, Nathan, and Rusty, and we came away with a healthy attitude or exercise and what we do as routine. taking care of ourselves ranged. Everybody's spending about an hour to an hour and a half doing some meditation and reading, improving themselves. And as far as forgiveness was concerned, we all found that we were becoming more forgiving. And I'll chalk it up to Nathan for giving me the idea of putting boundaries on that. There's some be forgiving to a point. You know what, you can control you. You're not sure how it's going to be received with somebody else. So just giving thought that instead of just being all forgiving. I think I caught that, Nathan. If I did, thank you.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Kevin. And Sajad, mention your event tomorrow.
I was going to ask you if I could do that.
Absolutely.
May I have 1 minute, David?
Absolutely.
All right, 3 things. First off, I was in the room with me. And if you weren't there, I said a bunch of amazing stuff. You should have been there. You probably got put in the wrong room. Number 2, polarizing networking is tomorrow morning. It's the most polarizing networking on earth. My co-host is Jen Carpenter. She believes in no like, trust, go giver, and it's all about relationships. She's wrong about everything, but she's extremely intelligent. It's all about owning a mountain, driving a $76,000 twin turbo, and having a super hot 24-year-old girlfriend. David George Brooke is in my productivity and accountability pod, as well as Bruce, as well as like 20% of the people in this room are current and former clients of mine. You should check me out because I'm a freaking genius. Multitasking is doing 2 things wrong at once, and everybody can see your stupid face. So stop doing it. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Sajad. Always a tough act to follow, as people would say after. So a couple of things. We're going to do a couple of exercises here. We got about 5 minutes to go, and I'm going to end on the same exercise we do every month, but I'm going to do another one in a second. I do want to mention that in the next couple of months, I'm going to be putting together a higher level, sort of more intense gratitude infusion roundtable. And I just want to tell you about it to get you thinking about it. Please join me for a high-level group of like-minded individuals that want to take their appreciation and thankfulness to an extended or elevated level in the Gratitude Infusion Roundtable. The monthly meeting will give you consistent tools to navigate the sometimes challenging obstacles that we all face in life. The power of the mastermind will assist in helping you build stronger coping mechanisms. I talked about that earlier, and coping skills. The agenda will include a featured member focus, kind of like a hot seat, to get your questions answered by 8 or 10 other people. They'll be limited to 20 people, by the way. There'll be a guest speaker for about 10 or 15 minutes, a content pillar, a breakout room, a recommended book, and numerous exercises and activities. And of course, feedback will be highly encouraged. The roundtable will be limited to no more than 20 individuals, and I'll get you details on that. But I'll continue to do the Gratitude Infusion Mastermind, but I want to have that for people that want to take it to even a little higher level. And that'll be this is the first Wednesday of the month. That'll be the first Thursday of the month too. So, okay, quick exercise. Get your pad of paper out or your piece of paper. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And I think one of the things I think about that's happened to so many people, both coaching clients, people, as I said, I've been around a while. People tend to focus a lot on what's not going right in their life. And I don't understand that. You wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, you start thinking about all the things that are bugging you. And if you're one of the rare people that don't, then I'm so happy for you. But I would say 70, 80, 90% of the people always focus on the negatives. And I don't understand it. And so I'm trying to blunt that effect by having this gratitude mindset, the gratitude journal. And as I said, I put a link in the chat for that. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And I want you to write everything you have going on for yourself right now that is good. So like for me, I might mention that I just met with Rachel Lee and I met with Diamond Drip. And these are people that are really cool that I just met in the last week or so. That's exciting. I've got a couple of talks coming up at Boeing. That's exciting, et cetera, et cetera. Write as many things as you can for 30 seconds about everything you've got going on in your life that's good. Personal, professional, doesn't matter. Go. Okay, and stop. And hopefully there'd be many, many more things I had a couple of things happen earlier in the week that I wasn't real happy with regarding some speaking engagements. And I stopped and I made that list, and I had about 15 or 20 things on it, and it completely changed my viewpoint by focusing on all the blessings and abundance I had. And nobody wants to worry about the lack. Don't worry about what you don't, it's that old thing about focusing on what's good and not focusing on what's bad. And I just don't understand why people do that. But you do that, and you can type that up. You can put it on a Word doc. You can print it up. You can put it on your bulletin board, on your mirror, on your computer, on the desktop, wherever it is. And if things are looking a little bit dicey, look at that little list and then add and subtract some things. And there was even a couple of things I had that were, I know what it was, is the 5,000 subscribers. That just happened a couple of days ago, and I wrote that down. That was a really exciting thing. So anything that'll help bounce you back from some of the negativity. So, okay, next exercise, grab your smartphones. Some of you may be familiar with this. 60 seconds. I want you to text somebody in your life and tell them how grateful you are to have them in your life. Please use the word grateful, and as many as you can. Some of those, Rachel mentioned that she's not even 30, so she can do 12 texts in like 60 seconds. But some of us, like me, I'll knock out one, maybe two. But text as many people you can right now to tell them how grateful you are having in your life. I'll give you 60 seconds. Go.
Rachel, do you need my number?
I saw that.
Drop it in the chat.
Hell no. People hate me.
Message me if he needs Sajad's number.
Will do.
I don't need it.
I
He's
meant
always,
that for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Thanks, Suzanne. I don't need it, but he's always calling me. So thank you.
Yeah. Everybody calls you Bruce.
Yeah,
It's hard to be popular, isn't it?
I wouldn't know, but thank you.
I can tell you what it's like to be famous.
15 seconds. You can do more than one text. Make sure you're using the word grateful in the text. That's very critical. 10 seconds. All right, there's 60 seconds. I'm going to end. I haven't done all the talks this way, the masterminds, but I'm going to end everyone with the gratitude texting exercise, because can you ever get too many flowers? Can you ever get too many cards? Can you say, oh, please, that's way too many presents for my birthday. Please, just settle down. I don't want to get this much of attention. You can never get too much of it. So it's so important to recognize people. I've said in the past, I won't go through it before, the people that come up at my book table. I do this live, and everybody's got the cell phones and they're all there. And then they come up and they show me, and, are you sure you sent this to the right person? And it's always funny stuff. And another one says, I'm grateful for you too. What do you want? I mean, there's all these different exercises, these examples that people have from, I'm just saying, I'm grateful to have you in my life. So next meeting is the first Wednesday of the month. It's June 5th next month. And I did put a link in the chat rather for people that want to join that may not have had a chance to yet. Tell your friends. It's something that it's all about being positive. It's all about gratitude, and it's all about an infusion of gratitude into your life. And in a day and age where there's a lot of negativity out there, as I mentioned earlier, and it's one of those things, at least once a month on the first Wednesday of the month for an hour, you can get some positivity. And one of my favorite things is getting to connect to people like each one of you that did the from the breakout room report mentioned who you were in the room with. And it's just really fun. And it's like Carrie, I just met, I don't know, not that long ago, and she was in the room with my son, Kyle. And so it's just really cool to make those connections with really cool people. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about Diamond Drip. I'll do that next time, just to make sure that more people get connected to her, another very cool person. So anyway, thank you all. I'm going to hang around for a little bit, but it is the top of the hour. So those that have to go, if you have any more questions or you want to stick around and chat a little bit, I'll stay on for another 10, 15 minutes, whatever. But if you have to go, I understand that. And I will say goodbye and thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for attending.
Thanks,
Thank you
David.
so much. The exercise was so great. I appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for the text, Lee.
Thank you,
All right.
David.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
David, I got to
What do
let
you
you know.
Thank you so much, David.
You're welcome.
I texted my wife, and she texted back, "What did you do?"
Well, David, I just want to say Krista Rizzo and I have known each other
years.
Oh my God, I just met her yesterday.
Stop.
I saw her and I was like, what are you doing here?
That's
So yeah,
Suzanne,
back in the early days of
I say that's my
Coaching.
new best
health
friend,
coaching.
Krista Rizzo.
Yes,
And then
I
people,
love
and
you,
then,
No,
and then
mm-mm.
people
You
go,
don't like
you
her.
said that to me. You said that to me. You said that to Chris. Don't say that to me. You're cheating on me. Oh yeah. Oh, what a bottle of bundle of energy. I love
I
Krista.
know, right?
so fun. It was so fun to meet you yesterday. I'm so happy to see you. I'm going to chat you later and we'll catch up
Okay.
soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I got to go. I got to go pick up children.
Me
Bye,
too.
everybody. It was
See
so
ya.
nice to see you guys.
David, are you good if I go?
No,
Yeah.
you can't leave. You can't leave yet, Suzanne. Chill out.
Stop.
Derek wanted to
You
say
do.
something.
Go ahead, Derek.
Oh yeah, Derek,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh no, you can. I just want to let you know that we had a good breakout. Rachel, what a wonderful young lady.
Cool.
Really sharp, outgoing young lady. And then I didn't get a chance because I wasn't in the room with Kyle, but I did send him a little message. I'm getting a little better at the mess. I'm not very good at sending messages during this because I'm paying attention to what I'm watching. So appreciate you, appreciate the group, and can't wait to meet Kyle. We ought to, when you and I do one of the Zooms, David, we ought to invite Kyle.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll do that. And we could also do that with Connor too. So
Perfect.
because Kyle's only about 5 miles from me here in Renton in Seattle, and Connor's down in San Diego. But of course, with Zoom, you're all a minute away, so it's very handy. So, but
Hey, David, two things. Since well, thank you for the opportunity to pitch.
yes,
And since the important people are the only ones left. Oh, thanks, Derek, for shouting me out too. Appreciate that. What is the story with Diamond Drip?
Diamond, it's the stage is yours.
The story, it's an interesting way to ask that question, but you say lots of interesting things as I've come to learn being in your presence. So we had a one-to-one thanks to Jeff, just simply because we're both speakers and he talks about gratitude. I talk about using your energy more efficiently and being grateful. Mindset is a part of that. And we have just had an awesome time chatting. I sent him his, what did I send you? The Gene Keys profile. And I'm excited. We still have to schedule a one-to-one to follow up about that. But it's like a little mini report that tells you like what you're here to learn, what you're here to do in this lifetime, what deeply fulfills you. It lets you know what your shadows are. So you know when you're living in your shadow self and how that might be stopping you from actually fulfilling your purpose here in this lifetime.
You know, it's interesting too, because for those of us that are older, I use the example with the Zoom when the person's face pops up and then they say their first words. And I used to mistakenly call it musical chairs, and it wasn't that. And this is where it's going to date me. It was a blind date. As a kid, you get a blind date and you open the door and the person opens the door and you go, oh, like, what the, hi, I'm David. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Eugene, Eunice, whatever. And so Diamond is a perfect example of what is always exciting to me is in the first 30 seconds, I go, oh my God, I love this woman. It's just, and it's so cool. And it's that energy. I think Jeff is gone. But the thing that Jeff Sarah talks about with the energy that you can't make it up. It makes me believe so much in these energy fields, which I never did before because of how fast you determine the connection you have. And in some ways, there's people that you don't want to follow through with for whatever reason. There just isn't a good connection. But to me, with some of the Sajad's events and Suzanne and different things where I've met a lot of people, I call it an embarrassment of riches. There's just so many cool people. It's hard to try to keep up with everybody because there's just so many cool people that are really cool.
Could I interject something here? I was with Diamond during our little breakout, which was delightful. And I've never actually heard anybody talk about taking on a new physical activity. Diamond, could you share with the group your plan for your new physical activity?
Yes, I want to do something that's working out, but it doesn't feel like working out. And so I am going to be taking a pole dancing class pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Damn, Mark, you dirty bastard.
What?
I don't know. I've just never ever heard anybody taking a class in that. So I guess they do have classes.
I have 3 poles in my house.
You're in Florida, right?
And to check.
It's a job.
That was a thing for a while back. I remember that they were offering it for housewives in their 30s and early 40s as a new way to exercise and what else? Because
Well, it certainly works different muscles than you're used to.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in Diamond. I'm
I
in
would suppose.
Chicago and Arizona. It depends on the weather.
Oh, okay.
I'm extremely old. I'm just very good looking. Tomorrow is polarizing networking.
Neither
Come
one of those statements is true, by the way. but-
Whatever.
Mr.
Hey,
Mr.
Mark-
D, Mr. D, did you have a good group?
Can you
Yeah,
tell-
very nice group.
Can
Derek
you
and I
tell what
were
it, when
the,
you said a shadow self, what is that, please? You said something about, was it a shadow self?
Yeah, shadow self.
Oh, yeah. So
What is that, please?
yeah, so every single one of us, we have like a main shadow that kind of pokes its head in our lives and causes us to do things just based on trauma. So I'll use me for an example because I don't remember David's off the top of my head, but in my life's work, I have the shadow of immaturity, which is being in a place that's like externally fixated, which this world thrives on because we're constantly receiving messages that we're not good enough and you can buy your way out of it, but transforming that into a place of internal groundedness so that you can be in this place of expansion. Everyone is different. So your shadow is probably definitely different than mine, the same way that David's was, but they play a role in how we show up in the world. And
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it similar to the voice in your head that's don't do that, do this, and which is anti to what you may be trying to do? Is it that same kind of a concept, or is it a little different than that?
it's an inner critic. So mine, the modalities that I use in my practice are human design and gene keys, which deal with like astronomy, the chakra model, Kabbalah, and a few other ancient and modern sciences.
Pretty cool.
Are you
We
were
get
asking
so
Florida?
caught
Are you
up
in
in
Florida,
this-
Diamond?
Oh, sorry.
No, you were asking Florida. Are you in Florida?
No, he said he had a lot of poles in his house, so I was like, that seemed like a Miami thing. No, I'm in Maryland.
He doesn't have, he doesn't have any
what did you
poles
have
in
for
his
a group?
house.
Hey, Mark, I was just a little curious. I didn't really want to know
can't
why
get to
you
Mr.
know
Goker.
that you use different muscles for pole dancing.
I've seen it in different movies that I've seen that the shoulders are really
Oh.
what end up getting worked out.
It's hard to do.
I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, try it. If you come up to a pole, try to be vertical or horizontal on it.
Can't even imagine.
It's impossible.
Yeah, Diamond probably couldn't imagine a better time to spend her afternoon than with 6 older white guys talking about the muscles you use for pole dancing.
But you know, you talk about that pole. I mean, I live in just right outside Sarasota, so the circus is huge in Sarasota. So they have circus all the time. So they had a Christmas circus, and one of the acts was a pole. I mean, it was a huge pole. It was probably about 50 foot, and he puts it in the ground. He crawls up while he's balancing this pole, and it was an impressive act.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, David, I need to run, but I'm really glad you invited me.
Thanks, Bruce.
It was it pumped me full of really positive energy, and just like it does every time I'm in a room with Derek, just a burst of sunshine. So I hope everybody has a good week. I look forward to the next meeting. Seeing you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks.
Rob.
Mr.
Thanks
D, I
for
was
you
trying to
guys.
get to you. Did you have any good thoughts from your room?
Yeah, Rachel was a good. She's got great energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all had different things. It's funny how some of us were going this way on the 3 questions, and the other ones were going
Right.
like I don't work out anymore, unfortunately, but I should walk now that now that everyone talks about it. I'm more forgiving in the old age, and some of in our group are not, weren't that forgiving. I can't remember his name. Sajad.
Sajad.
Yeah, he was. He's got his little orbit.
Yeah, he's a character to say the least.
He's a character, and I think if you, I can appreciate him as a character.
Yeah.
And I like that about him.
Well, it's even like you said, the whole idea is everybody, some people are forgiving, some aren't forgiving, as a good example, illustration of that. And I think it's interesting to me, like I put the breakout questions, but having been in so many breakout rooms myself over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, it's amazing how sometimes they answer the questions or they go off in these tangents on these other people. Or I always think like if it's 15 minutes like today and there's usually 3 or 4 people, you know, she give roughly 4 or 5, minutes per person. I've had somebody talk the whole breakout room and just go, did we ever get to say anything? Do we, are you just going to dominate the whole thing? So they can be quite an experience, from very beneficial to probably almost boring sometimes, depending if somebody dominates the whole thing.
David,
Yeah,
it was nice to realize that Jason knows you for a long time. That was
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
since we were what, 12, 30 years ago?
Mr. D. What kind of calendar do you have? That was Mr. D is somebody who Mark Caton, who's one of the first people on the call every month, literally like 10 to the hour, is another one I met through working at Nordstrom. And Mr. Dupervay, Jason, I said the same thing to him. I said to Mark Caton, I said, we met and bought some clothes. He bought some clothes and stuff. And I said, we got to be friends. And then it was 10-foot poles and all sorts of other things that we did remember from
which
many
which we won't talk about.
Exactly.
Also, Mark Davis is on the call here.
That's right, and Mark
Great
as
to
well.
see you again. Mark and I went to the University of Washington together years and years ago, and did some professional things.
Yeah.
So it's
Sure
great.
did.
It was great catching up. On forgiveness, if I can make a point, I think I had a tough time with that, because I feel like if I'm forgiving somebody, I'm somewhat condoning it with their behavior. And yeah, you're right, Derek. I've learned over time that that's not the way it works. So I had a speed bump. Yeah, maybe a
Jason,
mountain.
not to
that I had to
argue with
overcome.
Derek, but knowing your situation and knowing one individual that was part of your life, that's a very challenging, knowing some of the stuff you went through, that's a very challenging thing to go through when somebody is that much of an outlier or whatever, as Eton, as we
I'm gonna have to run, but I want to let you guys know, David, you, Mark, and Jason, you did good. I mean, there's 4 of us from high school, which is over 50 years ago, that we're still best friends. And I can tell you one thing, you guys did good, because David, Mark, I've only met you a little bit, and Jason, I got to spend a little time. Diamond, you're terrific too. I don't know you yet, but when David says something good, it's true. And
Yeah,
I just wanted to let you guys know, because I'll tell you what, as you're getting a little older, some of the things that happen, some of those friends, they don't remain around forever. And every day that you got them, bless you.
Yeah, thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek.
Take care, my friend.
All righty.
All right,
Derek.
Thanks,
Derek.
Diamond, look at you just hanging out with these old guys that are all been around for a while.
Because Mark said some things that intrigued me. So since he's here, I wondered if he felt like sharing your birthday, since you already shared your birth time.
Yes, one of the people. Thank you, Diamond. You look like you're even bigger than a 6-carat diamond.
Appreciate that.
Yes, one of the people on the call with us today brought up the number 555, and there's something genealogically relevant with 555. And one of the things has always been my favorite number, because I was born 5/15/55. So 5 has always been, a very relevant. Plus, I grew up at 1515, 125th. So 5 just continues to be part of, my life. But, fortunately, my time now allows me to do a lot of physical exercise. And when I don't do it, I really miss doing it. And the woman who was 555, who was a cheerleader, her physical exercise is to watch. She doesn't do physical exercise because she learned to watch as a cheerleader. but she is definitely in good shape and she's working on a farm. So she's doing some exercise, but you could just kind of tell that she looks forward to doing more physical exercise because the body responds so well to it. And David, I brought up your, 10,000 steps a day, and that's been a huge part of your success and the fact that you're, as physically fit as you are. You got to carve out the time to do it, but everybody can walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Or most people can walk.
Yeah.
So, you build up those muscles as you go, and it's just such a great habit to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even though we've heard this term many times in the past, I say it a lot lately, use it or lose it. And all of us are now, Diamond, you're still just getting started. But for those of us that are this age, it's really true. If you don't use it, it'll go away. And I notice it's challenging to stretch every morning because the muscles want to just kind of tighten up and stuff, and you got to keep them limber and loose and stuff. But it's just a quality of life issue, and I had Kyle, who was on the call today. He just turned 40 2 weeks ago. Connor.
Great to see him.
Yeah, thank you. And Connor will be 30 in about 2 weeks. They're 10 years apart. And Connor's engaged to be married now, be married next year. And it's just, I want to be around for marriages and grandchildren and all that, and be not the old guy in the corner with a cane, there's Connor's dad over there because, he can't get around very well. So, and the big thing about it is all you can do is can control what you can control. There's all this other stuff. I mean, I can't remember if I mentioned to you, Jason or Mark, but my store manager downtown, Jim Eagle, died recently. Pat McCarthy, the big salesman, died recently. It goes on and on. Dory Monson on the radio in Cairo died recently. A lot of people die. Blake Nordstrom died, all these people. And a lot of them were not even much into their 50s. And so you can't control that, but you can just take control of what you can do and do the best you can with it. So anyway, all right, I gotta get scooting. So
all right.
Thank you all for coming. Hopefully we'll see you all next month. And thanks for the participation. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Great job.
Thanks,
right.
David.
Thanks, Jason.
Bye,
Thanks,
Diamond.
Mark. Thanks,
Great to
Diamond.
see you.
Bye, Jason.
Bye,
Bye, Diamond. Bye, Jason.